So the first example we'll look at is the Högskrimskirke, a cathedral in Reykjavik, Iceland. And this and the next example are the two that I'll go through in detail in this workshop. In this introductory segment, all I'll do is I'll just look at the layer stack on the right-hand side of the screen here and show you the steps I went through in rendering this image. Now, because I edit non-destructively using layers and layer masks, this layer stack on the right provides something like a complete history of all the changes that I've made as I've rendered this image from start to finish. So if you want more information on that, by the way, and you want to know how to edit non-destructively in Photoshop and Photoshop Elements, go see the workshop that's listed on my website. Let's just take a quick walk through now and see the steps that I went through in rendering this image. I'm going to turn off all of the layers. Let's see, well, I've turned them all off now. Let's turn on just the image of the cathedral. And I'll turn off the mask here. So there's the image of the cathedral as shot. I've actually done a little bit of editing here. I've taken out some people that were walking in the plaza. But the sky was very bland, very bright. It's about 8 p.m., but it's near the longest day of the year. So it's still pretty bright, but not very interesting. First thing that I have here on my layer stack is actually the background layer. So there's the image that I took of clouds in Iceland. Could have been the day before, the day after I shot the picture of the cathedral. The compositing step is the next one. Here's a layer group where I've combined several layers to put the cathedral on top of that background image of clouds. There's an adjustment layer to lighten up the clouds. After that, I used a filter, one that's now owned by DxO, used to be Nick, to change it into a black and white image. Then added a little tone adjustment to it, a little more tone adjustment. See, that layer's unused. Then stretched out the aspect ratio a little bit. After that, took the complete image of the plaza and squished it up at the bottom a little bit so it would fit more nicely, and then brightened the overall image. This is the second example that we'll look at in detail later in the workshop. But in this introductory segment, let me just go quickly through the steps over here in the layer stack to trace the progress of this rendering from initial capture to final result. So I'll turn off the visibility of all the layers but the bottom one. There's the capture that I took of the scene up near Kingston, New York. First thing I did was took out a couple little twigs near the center of the screen there. Then added the reflected clouds into the water. Then added a little more detail of the water back in, lightened that up because it had gotten too dark. Then added the clouds into the sky. Then desaturated the blues in the sky a little bit. And finally changed the overall tone to brighten the image. Most of this rendering is compositing, but the technique, unlike the first example, the one of the Högskrimskirke, this one uses blend modes to do the compositing, and that's something we'll look at in detail later in the workshop.